How we doing all? Welcome back to PEDAL-WORX. So in this video we're going to be quickly looking at the ROCKSHOX ZEB and the Buttercup air shaft conversion. So on the previous version of the ZEBs we had the debonair air shaft, and the new ones now come with the Buttercup air shaft, which makes them a lot more sensitive to small bump. So you can convert your old forks over to the new system and give them a bit of a better feel. And we're going to quickly have a go through, put them apart and see what's involved. Back in a bit. So here's the air shafts. Removed the old debonair one, compared it to the new Buttercup one, just so you can see them side by side, see what the differences are. I mean, two stand out for me really. Firstly is the lack of plastic. Even though there's nothing ever wrong with the original debonair air shaft, it done its job. Plastic bits in forks always make me a bit like, oh, come on, we can do better than that. So yeah, the new one is an all metal affair, which, like I say, don't really change the performance too much from what it's made of. It's just a bit more gooch in it. It's nice to see a bit of metal inside there. As a comparison, from a spring perspective, you can see, yeah, if I line them up properly, the main piston, which is the top, versus the base seal, the volume in between, which is your negative air pressure. This is the thing that makes your fork have that initial, gives that initial movement, you know, that reluctance to sort of stick, what's it called, stiction. Get my words out in. This is the bit that controls your forks from the get-go. Obviously this at the top is just a piston, so when the fork's travelling through, it's just up and down, and this volume inside increases, the fork goes through its travel, compressing the air on top. So that bit is the same, but what you will see is this on the Buttercup shaft. It's like a built-in volume spacer. And the reason why ROCKSHOX would have done this is because the ZEB was kind of known for diving through its mid-travel. So really good fork. I mean, I used to run ZEBs before I went over to the 38s on the Levo, and you know, I couldn't really fault them. They're a really good fork, and they actually performed better once they were on the Levo, so you could run a little bit more air pressure because of the extra weight. It seemed to sort of boost them up a little bit. But prior to that, I had them on an intense carbine, and they were really good, really stiff fork. But one thing you did notice was that mid-travel just didn't exist. They were like really soft and then just ramped up right at the end. So what ROCKSHOX have done is basically took some of the volume away out of the main air side. So now basically your spring curve is now steeper. So you've nicked whatever volume that will be in cc, possibly about 15 cc, to bring the curve up. So now as the fork goes into its travel, the supportiveness that you used to feel at the end is now moved closer to the mid-travel. And one of the things you read about the new ZEBs is that they work, or they seem to live better in their mid-travel, and that's all down to that bit there. And then obviously the Buttercup. Inside this is effectively a set of elastomers, which any of you old school guys out there are probably chuckling to yourself, because this is what our forks used to run on before the days of air springs and coil springs, when we was running things like RSTs and the old ROCKSHOX Judies. They used to run elastomer springs, which were horrendous, and they would never perform the same. But they've made a return. So what's in the bottom of this? So basically the whole point of this being is these are like a micro vibration buffer. It's not a spring, it doesn't compress. If you try and squash it, nothing happens. But what it is between the shaft and the bottom of the fork, so base of the fork, shaft, air, your hands, right? This takes that little bit of vibration away, that micro vibrations that you can't really feel, but you know, causes fatigue on our hands because the vibration that feeds through to our hands and gives us sore hands and everything else we suffer with when we go out and do the big rides. So that is the Buttercup shaft. Now what we're going to do now is get your feet in the fork, which is a pretty straightforward conversion. No real difference in the way it goes in. Slightly different in the negative air seal sleeve that sits in there, but yeah, pretty straightforward. I'll get these fitted up and we can have a look once it's all back together. Back in a bit. And there's a quick look at the shaft installed. Like I said, goes in exactly the same way as the old one comes out. Yeah, real easy to do. I'll quickly whip the lowers on when they come out, have a quick look inside before we get into finishing the job up. There we go. We can see the new air shaft in its new home with the volume cap that we could see on the shaft earlier, sitting down the bottom there, and giving a little bit more mid-stroke support. We can see the customer who already has these ones doesn't run any volume spacers with them, so, and he's quite a lightweight guy, so he's going to definitely notice that. We'll have to discuss that when he comes to pick them up, about doing a bit of a retune on the way he used to run them before, because he used to run them at 20% sag to try and give him a bit more boost, which he might not need to do now. But that will come out of the riding and the testing. We'll have to see how that feels. Right, back in a bit. And that's it. Done. All buttercupped up. So I'll hand the bag over to Chris, and he'll go and do some tuning, I guess. This is one of the guys who races in like the enduros, does the pedal and stuff, so these forks get used, and be good to get some feedback, see how he feels. So I'll hand them over. Right, catch you on the other side. Back again. Just a quick note, if anyone out there needs their stuff servicing, tuning, or even some advice on what you've got and if you can make it better, or what needs to be done to keep it running healthy, give us a shout. We do a lot of stuff for the riders out there, not just the racers, so we can help you along somewhere. Anyway, enough waffle from me, and catch you on the other side.